What's going on, YouTube family? Welcome to Automotive Life. My name is Lucky, and today we're going to be talking about why you should stop doing Uber and Lyft, Postmates, all these other delivery companies. Banks and insurance companies are cracking down, and you guys need to know about it. Now, before I get into the content, if you could do me a huge favor and gently squeeze the like button for YouTube algorithm, I'd truly appreciate it. Also, if you consider subscribing, we do post 2 times a week, so make sure you click the notification bell. And once again, follow us on Instagram at Lucky Lopez, and let's get into the video. So back in 2018, I started to notice a trend. I was going to the auction and buying cars that were about 1 to 2 years old with 80 to 100,000 miles on them. And it wasn't too much of a deal. We used to see those every now and then. There's always somebody that drives a lot. There's always some sort of justification. But we started seeing more and more of these things popping up, and we started to see a trend. We saw Uber stickers, Lyft stickers, Postmates, some of these other delivery companies, and they started to come in more and more every single week, and we started to see this trend. Now, I wasn't the only one. Banks started seeing it. I had multiple banks literally send out flyers saying, if this consumer is using this for, Uber, Lyft, whatever else, we are not allowed to do a loan with them. We had to disclose that. And if we didn't, they could have ramifications of back charging us if that's how they made their income. So we knew that there's going to be a little bit of lending restrictions and little things here and there, but we didn't expect what was going to happen as of this year. A lot of the banks flat out said that they are done taking massive losses. Now, during the pandemic, I know people are making extra money. I'm not against side hustles. You got to make money to feed your family. But people are going out buying cars at all-time record prices. As soon as they got the loans, they were into the forbearance program, so they didn't pay any money for their car payments. And they were doing Uber, Lyft, Postmates delivery, just racking up the miles, making money. But the problem is they weren't paying down the loans or paying the banks at all. Well, fast forward to today, now 2023, these cars are, beat up, hundreds of thousands of miles, and people are just walking away and getting another car, either paying cash or getting another bank to finance them before the lending restrictions get too tight. And this is what's catching up to the banks. So now all these banks are starting to get upset that people are basically using their cars and racking up miles. There's something you guys need to understand. If you are a regular person with decent credit, they're probably going to give you an auto loan from 60 to 72 months with low single-digit interest because there's not that much risk. A regular person's going to drive the car from work and home, nothing crazy. But when I had my rental car company, I had much shorter terms. I had 48 to 60 months. I had higher interest because they were expecting me to pay down that debt quicker. All the banks do is offset their risk. So when a rental car company, I'm going to rack up miles and beat up those cars a lot more, but I'm going to be using them to make money. So they add the interest or raise the interest because they got to offset the risk, and they shorten the term so this way they get as much money as they can. So if I were to default, they wouldn't lose as much money. And that's how banks do business. They're always assuming risk. But what's happening is there's so many people doing Uber, Lyft, and all these other Postmates things that people are just racking up miles, not paying down their car, getting low interest rates, some of them at 84 months. And by the time, they have to go repo the car is worth $10,000 and they owe $40,000 to $50,000 on these cars is just absolutely insane. So now the banks have finally had it up. I know they were doing this about a year ago with Turo people. People were renting these cars out on Turo, racking up miles and not paying the thing. So now banks are starting to crack down on this. They're going to be issuing out letters to multiple people. So don't be surprised if you get a letter from your bank stating that we have the right to repo your car, or we need to know if you're doing rideshare, because one of two things are going to happen. One, they're going to raise interest rates on you and increase your payments. Two, they may shorten term. Or three, they may add an additional insurance to your loan to make sure that if they had to repo the car and there is a big gap from what you owe to what the insurance pays or what they get at the auction, the banks will be somewhat covered. And this is something that you guys need to be aware of. I know there's a lot of people, like I said, that are doing this as a side hustle to feed their families, to make extra money, to pay for school. There is nothing wrong with that. Now, you can tell your banks that, hey, I am an Uber driver. I do this for a living. I'll switch my interest rate, I'll pay more, I'll shorten the term, I'll put a bigger down payment. Whatever the case is, next time you get a loan, just be honest with the bank so this way you don't run into these issues. Now I have a feeling that a lot of people are going to get some really bad letters, and even in some states, they are allowed to repo your cars if you're using them for commercial purposes. Read your loans, and also, especially leases. Lease companies are gangster. They will literally snatch up your car in the middle of the night. If you read a lot of these ones, they actually have language in there. You cannot use them for rentals, you cannot give them to somebody else, and you cannot use them for commercial purposes unless it's a commercial lease. So you guys need to be very careful. Read your documentation, whatever your loan was got. Call your bank. I know you guys are probably thinking, I'm just going to write it out till there's nothing left. But you got to remember, if they repo your car and then sell it for peanuts, you're left with that deficit and bad credit, and you can't get another car. So if Uber and Lyft and Postmates is how you make your money, you need to sit back and start putting cash away to buy another car, maybe that's cash, so this way you can not have to worry about the banks coming in and taking your cars. Now, for all these people, I'm sure they're going to be in the comment section like, that's illegal. They can't do that. Depending on your contract, yes, they can. And unfortunately, it's already happening. I've seen multiple leasing companies. If you watch my interview with Luxury Leasing Partners, they've actually repoed a lot of cars because people are using them for rental cars, for delivery vehicles, for loaning them out to other people for like model shoots and stuff. Banks have certain rights to protect their assets. So if they give you a loan based on a regular person driving it to work back and forth with a low interest rate, they expect that your car is not going to be that beat up when they have to go repo it if they got to collect their asset back. But if they're worried about their asset getting 100,000 miles and you're just beating it up and you got low interest rates and 84 months of payments, they're going to be very skeptic of you actually paying down your loan. Now, I highly recommend if you are going to continue, you need to pay whatever your auto loan is, pay another 30 to 40% on top of that for depreciation. This is very important. This is something we teach in our rental car course and any type of commercial vehicles. You always need to pay more because by the time this car starts having problems, you need to pay it down so you could trade it in and get another vehicle. People don't do this enough, and this is why a lot of these people that do Uber and Lyft only do it for 2 to 3 years because by the time it's ready for them to get another vehicle, their car's already too beat up. They can't get out of them and they're stuck and they have to stop doing Uber because their cars just won't run the full 24 hours normally that what they did and they're breaking down. Also with rental car fleets, people are just driving the hell out of them and then by the time the miles are up, they can't get another car because they're so upside down in their collateral. Now, we just talked about banks. That has nothing to do with insurance companies. Insurance companies are out for blood. I know from multiple vendors that they will not stand at all for any type of commercial use. Now, insurance companies have been losing millions of dollars on lost premiums. Now, there are a lot of insurance companies. All you have to do is call them up and say, yes, I'm doing Uber part-time or full-time, and you get an extra maybe $10, $20, $30 a month added onto your binder to make sure you're properly insured. And this way, if any of your passengers are hurt or injured, they're insured. It's the right thing to do. This is your business. But what people are doing is they're lying. Oh, I'm only driving 200 miles a month and I don't do any type of ride share or I don't do any type of deliveries. And what's happening are people getting in the accidents. And then on top of that, once these insurance companies know that you're not actually insured, they have the right to cancel your policy. I've seen insurance companies literally cancel policies from either people doing Postmates, Uber, or Lyft because they didn't disclose it. So if you crash let's say you bought a brand new Lincoln Navigator, if you're doing Uber Black or Uber XL, and you had this really nice Navigator, let's say you're driving it and somebody rented you, crashed your car, totaled it out. If the insurance company finds out that you were driving for Uber, just imagine them canceling your insurance and not paying your claim. Now you're stuck with an $80,000 car loan that you can't pay, a wrecked car, and this is what you did to invest in yourself to make more money. People's lives are going to start changing dramatically if you're still doing Lyft and Uber and Postmates and not properly informing your insurance company and your banks. So it's very, very important. Also, I don't know which state it was. I'll have to find the article, but there are companies that are actually going out there. And if you're doing Lyft and Uber without full coverage insurance, because I know a lot of people are just doing liability and they see that Uber has coverage, they're actually shutting them down. Some people's departments of transportation are going after some of these Uber, Lyft, and Postmate drivers. So it's very important that you take the time, sit down with an insurance agent, and ask them about the insurance premiums that will best protect you, your car, your passengers, and your business. Because at the end of the day, it's all about mitigating risk and your liabilities. And that's the way the insurance companies see it. They see you putting them at major risk with a little bit of benefit where $20, $30 extra a month could cover all that and you'll be fully protected. So I just wanted to put this video out here because I know, like I said, there are a lot of people that are doing Uber, Lyft, and Postmates as side hustles just to make extra money for their family. But I don't want to see you guys lose your cars because you were just, you didn't know, or you just weren't honest with your banks and insurance companies. Well, I'm telling you, now is the time. You either refinance that car, you buy a better insurance policy, do whatever it takes to make sure that you are correctly licensed. Call your, whether it's Uber, Lyft, Postmates, ask them what kind of insurance you need in your state, get whatever liability requirements they need, and talk to multiple insurance reps because, like I said, insurance agents will tell you exactly what they need because there are policies out there specifically for Uber, Lyft, and Postmate drivers. If you're doing deliveries, if you have people in your thing, you just want to make sure you're protected so you don't have any types of headaches or any type of liability that can get you in trouble in the future. But anyways, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments or any type of feedback, please leave it in the comments section below. I know this is kind of a scary video, but I wanted to bring it up because talking to multiple banks, they're all talking about sending out these letters and then just raising interest rates or adding this additional onto insurance onto different automotive loans. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you have any information, please share it. If you have a great insurance broker, please put their name down. If you have run into this problem, please share it with the group because the whole purpose of this channel is to be transparent about the automotive industry and share information. And even if your opinion is different from mine, that's okay. We can still be friends, but I do value your opinion. So make sure you leave it in the comment section below and we'll see you next video.